Hi, everybody. Just waiting for everyone to show up today. Lesson 2 of Storytelling Summer School is about to commence. Get your pad and paper, get your iPad, get your electronic recording device, get your typewriter, whatever you need to get. And we're going to start in just 1 second. I really like this song a lot, so we're going to listen to it for a little bit longer. And then we will get right to our content. I want everyone to let me know where they're watching from. Are they watching from work? What city? What state? What country? I know we had a couple people from the UK. We had someone from Australia last week, which is so exciting because I spent some time in Australia. All right, Bananarama. We're going to end that. So I would love everybody to just introduce yourself, say where you're from, where you work, what you're working on, the name of your organization. I have a chest cold, of course. Why not? Why wouldn't I have a chest cold in the middle of summer? But I'm fine. I'm completely fine. I've got my water. I hope you've got your water, your coffee, your margarita, whatever it is you have today, Friday at noon ET, for the second lesson of Storytelling Summer School. Today, we are going to talk about how to tell stories that take people from passive to active. And I'm really, really excited about this one. So, yay, Martha. Yay. Everyone is here. So many people showing up. Everyone's coming in. They're getting going. Really, really excited to have all of you. One thing I do want to know, I would love to know what you learned last time. One thing that you took away from last week that you have applied. So that might be hard. So maybe you have notes, maybe you have best intentions, maybe you have a lot of other different ideas. I'm actually going to hide this because I just want to talk to you. And I know it says Julia Gulia. I know. That's apparently my name. Be Live TV loves to make me Julia Gulia. Hi, Jim from Fort Lauderdale. So if you could just tell me maybe one thing that you applied from last week, and then I would love to hear any questions that you have. So we're going to go right through the program. We're going to go through the second lesson. Of course, there's going to be a replay if you missed anything. But yeah, let's just get right to it. It's Friday. You're busy. You want to, maybe you're on your lunch break. Maybe you're like me. You have to pick up your daughter in like half an hour from camp because camp ends at a very reasonable hour of, 1 o'clock. So let's just get right to it. How to tell stories that take people from passive to active. So it's really great to have these stories and it's all well and good and you're collecting them and you're working really hard, but you don't just want that pat on the back. You don't want people to say, oh, that was a great story next and, close the tab or leave your website or look on that next notification on their phone, right? So that's what we'll be talking about today. So Storytelling Summer School, you know it, you're here. If you're not in it, you can still sign up. A little bit about what it is. It's completely free, weekly training on Facebook Live. It's something I'm experimenting with. There's a freebie download checklist, planner, something like that each week to kind of augment your learning. And then there is a private Facebook group for nonprofit marketers. Happy to have you where you can ask your questions. And actually, there is a lot of great discussion this week around time management. There was some discussion around the best tools to create a social media calendar and manage social media. Really great stuff going on in the group, so don't miss it. So some upcoming lessons. Unless otherwise noted, the lessons will all be Fridays at noon. That just happens to be the best time for me. I'm just being very selfish right now. That happens to be the best time for me. I am going to experiment with doing Facebook Lives maybe in the evening because I do know that is better for people that have full-time jobs. I do recognize that. However, there's no guarantee that my children are not going to barge in here if I do a Facebook Live at 8 p.m. They should all be in bed, but they're you know how things go. So that's the only reason why I don't do evenings. Evenings here are kind of chaotic. And then I'm exhausted at the end of the night. I mean, if you have young kids, you completely understand. If you prefer PM, I am going to be experimenting with doing that. Of course, you can always watch the replay. It is great to watch live, though, because then you can get your questions answered if you really do. And then you can also see what happens, because you never know. A plane could fly overhead, which I'm sure it's going to. You just never know what's going to happen live. So once again, Storytelling Summer School is brought to you by my book, which I hope all of you have. If you don't, go get it. Jim answered my question. I love that. Renewed my efforts to get clients to tell stories about clients, donors, and volunteers rather than themselves. Really important. Really, really important. And I think what's important about that is to know that you should never just say, I can't do storytelling because of confidentiality issues, or my clients will never tell their stories. There's a lot of different stories you can tell. And to give a fuller picture of your organization, in fact, you want to be telling a lot of different stories. Client stories are always the most impactful. They're always going to really move people. But to give that bigger picture, to sort of break down that knowledge gap, you do want to be telling those other stories. So thanks, Jim. Okay, great. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to cover my 4 steps to really drive people from passive to passionate. So how to get people from sort of looking at your stuff or maybe consuming it or friends with you on Facebook or they're on your email list to really taking an action. I warn you, it's not easy. Nothing is easy in the online space, right? And anyone that tells you it's easy is lying, selling you some snake oil, right? Visuals are mandatory. Visuals are effective. We'll talk a little bit about that, and I'll give you my 4 steps. And of course, if you've ever taken a training with me or a webinar, I use lots and lots and lots and lots of examples from nonprofits of all sizes. My entire phone is screenshots of social media posts from nonprofits, like my entire phone. My daughter was going through my phone the other day to try to find a picture to do a face swap on Snapchat. And she's like, Mommy, what are all these boring photos of Facebook posts? And I said, well, I just basically stalk nonprofits and take photos of their posts to share. The cheat sheet this week, how to create a storytelling culture at your nonprofit. It's 1 page. It's just a cheat sheet. If you implement these tips and tricks, you will be on your way to creating that storytelling culture. So I encourage you all just to download it. If you are in Storytelling Summer School, you're signed up, you're registered, keep an eye on your inbox. You should have gotten an email this morning with the direct download link. You don't have to opt in. You don't have to enter your email again. If you're not already in summer school, this is the link that you want to use to go get this cheat sheet. Okay, 4 steps. We're going to go right through it because it's a gorgeous summer day. We want to get out, or maybe we have to finish the rest of our day at work, or maybe we're leaving early. Who knows? So the number 1 step, of course, grab attention, right? This sounds intuitive, but it's a lot harder than you think, and we'll talk about it. You need to elicit an emotional response. We are going to go through and detail all of these steps. You need to ask for an action. You can't just sort of tell your story and then just expect that people are going to know what you want them to do. Or worse, send them to your homepage without any direction. You don't want to do that, and I'll tell you what to do. Inspire sharing. That's really the holy grail of storytelling. If you can do all 4 of these things, if you can get someone to take an action and you can inspire sharing, the holy grail. I love this cartoon. This is from one of my favorite nonprofit colleagues, Beth Cantor. If you don't read her blog, it is mandatory, absolutely mandatory to read. So bethcantor.org, she says to say, so what to your data 3 times. And I love this. Our cat adoption numbers tanked this quarter, but the important thing is our YouTube views are way up. And I want you to look at your storytelling like that. So, you know, our cat adoption numbers tanked this quarter, but everyone really loved our YouTube story or our Instagram story or our Facebook Live video. Okay, but if it doesn't tie back to your goals, if it doesn't move the needle in some way, then you're not working towards your goals. You're not accomplishing what you should be accomplishing with storytelling. So YouTube views, Facebook reach, what are they really worth to you, right? So not that you really need convincing, but I did some research. I looked up some statistics, visuals and video. We can't get away from it. I kind of want to have a support group and almost a meditation for nonprofits around this, because I do know that it is incredibly challenging. If you've ever heard me speak, you do know that I used to be the development director and marketing director at a domestic violence organization. I've also worked with rape crisis organizations. I've worked with a million organizations, but directly as a paid staff member. The organizations I tended to work with, we could never use client stories. We could never take photos of our clients. They were in the shelter. They were being protected by law enforcement. So I completely understand, but there have to be ways around it, right? So I do a lot of training blogging. I have a whole ebook about this, so I'm not going to harp on this, but people love video. They prefer video. We all know this. We can't fight it, folks. You just can't fight the power of video, the power of it. Even video like this that I'm doing right now with my webcam on top of my monitor in my office, obviously very well decorated by a professional decorator. I just think that that connection that you can make with people through video is so much more powerful even than a written blog post. So that's why I love to do these Facebook Lives. I'm also really comfortable with video and I like video a lot. So that's my thing. Facebook users spend more time, 3 times more, watching Facebook Live, tweets with visuals, going to get you more retweets. And visuals are just processed by our brain faster. I have all sorts of scientific data that I can show you on that topic. So not to dwell on it, but also you are much more likely to be found in search. There's so many benefits. The number one benefit of using visuals and video is to grab attention. This is all that nonprofits should be focused on in 2017, in 2018, grabbing attention. We cannot play it safe anymore. We cannot be vanilla. We cannot appeal to everyone or we will appeal to no one. We have to find our tribe, find our audience. And we talked a little bit about that in the last video. Figure out who you're talking to, figure out who loves you, who is most passionate about what you do, and talk to them. And don't worry about all those other people. You can't worry about people that you're never going to convince or convert. You really can't. So read some Seth Godin, find your tribe, but grab attention. And this is why video works so well. So it's not that we're lazy and we don't want to read. It's that video captures our attention. It's movement. So think about every single thing happening right now in your life. And I guarantee you're not focused on me 100%. I guarantee you. If I fell off the chair or if I spilled some water or if I said a swear word or something like that, you might focus on me. But I understand you have your phone on, you have notifications, you have 55 Google Chrome tabs open, you're working on a project, you're doing this, you're doing that. You have your office phone probably. I completely get it. So you have to grab and keep people's attention. And we usually have to be really creative, especially as nonprofits when we do this, because we don't have gigantic marketing budgets to do this. We're not, Geico that creates these really great little creative ads. The movement is what absolutely works. And there are a million apps. And actually, I regret that I didn't include a list of those apps. And I'm happy to write a blog post about those apps afterwards, actually, that you don't need video, but you can just create movement with either text or some static photos. This is why GIFs work so well. And yes, I said GIF, G-I-F. It is not GIF. If it's GIF, I will fight you to the death. It's GIF. I mean, I think it actually really is GIF, but it's fine. I say GIF. But those little moving photos, that you see all the time that are really popular. Movement captures attention. You need color. You need to be eye-catching. It's just essential. You can't get away from it. So I love this one from Feeding America. It doesn't have movement, but it's pretty eye-catching. This woman is pretty incredible. You want to know her story. You want to know what's going on with her because it's just an incredible photo and it just captures your eye. So thinking about photography, well-staged photography doesn't have to be professional, has to have color, has to have movement. Look at the emotion in her eyes. I mean, just really great, great, great stuff. Just taking a couple more seconds before you take a video or a photo and thinking about what's going to capture someone's attention. Dear future mom, I'm not going to play this video because it makes me cry. It is such a fantastic campaign that this organization did on World Down Syndrome Day. It's adults that have Down syndrome, and they are talking to women who are pregnant right now, very, very specific. They're talking to women and men, parents, and they're saying, it's not like, don't worry, it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. And what it's like growing up with Down syndrome, and just amazing, amazing videos. But it knows its audience, okay? Very, very, very targeted, and then grabs attention. I see the word mom. I'm not a future mom. I have 2 kids and we're done, but I'm not a future mom for sure. I'm a current mom. I see the word mom, it grabs my attention, and it just makes me feel like I'm part of a community, and it makes me feel like people are speaking to me. It really does. So using those words, not being afraid to use those words in your storytelling. Obviously, they're not excluding dads. Dads can still watch this. But when you say, dear future mom, anyone that is pregnant is going to watch this. They think you're speaking to them. So grabbing attention, especially with video, I really highly suggest you watch some of these videos. They are incredible. But like I said, I can't watch them with you because I will start crying again, because they're so heartfelt and just really incredible. It's sort of like the Trevor Project when they did the It Will Get Better, where they had celebrity LGBTQ celebrities talking to teens and saying, it will get better. You know it's going to get better. It's terrible, and talking about how they came out to their parents. And Laura says, it's GIF. I know it's GIF. It's totally GIF, right? I know, I'm right. My husband and I argue about this all the time because he said the guy that invented it said it was GIF. And I said, I really don't care what he says. I will say GIF. So, and I actually had a discussion with my good friend Sophia, who I'm not sure is on the Facebook Live today, but we had an interesting discussion about it. So think about something unexpected. Think about something timely. So if something's unexpected, it's clearly going to grab people's attention because they're not expecting it, right? They're like going about their day. They're doing what they need to do. They are, maybe it's kind of a humdrum, boring day and everything online is just like the same old, or maybe they're horrified by the news like most of us are all the time lately. But what's going to grab their attention? What is going to be unexpected? Especially if it's unexpected from your organization, which I do like. I'm not saying you have to cause controversy every time, but you do need to kind of step out of your comfort zone to grab attention. What's timely? Commenting on current events, commenting on things that are going on right now, pop culture and memes, things that are popular. Like when the most famous example I can think of is during the Super Bowl a million years ago, when the power went out and Oreo tweeted, "You can still dunk in the dark." That was amazing, and everyone tweeted about it. And then what would happen if you closed your doors tomorrow? I would love to see a video of nonprofits where it's like, this is what society would be like if we never existed, and then doing a whole video around it. I think that'd be amazing. Chelsea Clinton said, you have to get people, in order to get them to take an action, you have to get people passionately inspired or pissed off. I completely agree. You really have to inspire some kind of emotion. I'm just going to put some quotes out here because I absolutely love quotes. If you need to water down your story to appeal to everyone, it will appeal to no one. And it's Seth Godin. It's not Seth Godin, right? Seth Godin. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. These 3 quotes, you need to make them into posters, and you need to put them on the wall, and every single communication that you create for your nonprofit, you need to look at this and you need to ask if it passes the test. honestly and truly. And I do know, I recognize that you have supervisors, you have people that you work with, you have colleagues, you've got boards, you have bureaucracy, red tape, all of that stuff to go through. But you have to fight to get your idea through. You have to just make people understand that you cannot be vanilla anymore. And I don't really think there's anything wrong with vanilla ice cream, but it's just the best analogy I have for boring, right? Or for bland. Knowing your audience, and I talk about this all the time. I basically talk about this in every presentation because I don't think there's anything more important that you could do. You have to know your audience and what's going to resonate with them. And if you don't know, then you need to ask them, right? What are the top 5 reasons that your donors support you? Could you tell me that right now? If you don't know, you got to ask them. Use their words and their language and create a tribe of people. They speak the same language. They are passionate about the same things. They have the same values. They have the same ethics. So think about how PETA has created its tribe, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Think about how like the Human Rights Campaign has created its tribe. Think about any emails that you get that are effective, that make you want to learn more or donate or take an action. You have to feel like you are part of something bigger than yourself. So how can your story that you're telling online do that? St. Baldrick's Foundation, they know their tribe 100%. So look at the language they use, right? Abby was diagnosed with childhood leukemia, PH plus ALL. I don't know what that means because, thank God, I don't know. I'm not in the childhood cancer community, right? I don't know what that means, but if you're in that community, I'm sure that you know what that means. And I'm sure you know exactly what the implications are, but it doesn't make it any less inspiring for me because I see a picture of an adorable girl and I want to help. And then they obviously have such a great caption and they have that call to action. I'm just saying St. Baldrick's Foundation is a great example of knowing their tribe and using their language. Rhodes Scholar. So this was a former client of mine. I actually worked as a team on a team with them with another consultant. And we developed this entire campaign around aging adventurously. And they had done a lot of work around figuring out who their customer is. So they are a nonprofit organization, but they sell educational trips. And so they were finding that they just weren't getting the response on social media that they thought they should be getting because they were posting great stuff. They just didn't know who they were talking to. And then when they discovered it, they said, hey, I know who this woman is. She's like 60 plus. She is, no one's going to tell her what to do. No one's going to, age is just a number. She's feisty. She goes to yoga. She wants to travel. And they call her the funky grandma. And if you think of the funky grandma, you get an amazing opportunity in your brain. You exactly know the funky grandma. Either you have one or you are one or you know one. It just gives you a picture. Every single thing that they create, they target to the funky grandma. It's pretty amazing. And they are crushing it on social media. This is from PETA. You can watch this video, if you get the slides from my website after this presentation. This is what they do, and this is what their audience responds to. 420 chinchillas rescued from painful death. A lot of their videos are horrifying, and they make you angry, and they just elicit an emotional response. They're great at what they do. They know their audience. Might not be right for your audience, but they know their audience, right? Step 3, right? So you've grabbed attention. You've elicited some kind of an emotional response. You've piqued my interest. You got me interested. I now kind of want to know, what do I do to save the chinchillas? Or what do I do to help Abby? Or whatever the story is that you're telling. Don't squander it, okay? What I see all the time is I see multiple calls to action, especially on YouTube videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, click on the link, make a donation, like us on Facebook, sign up for our email, go to our homepage. You cannot do that. People don't respond to that. Make it make sense. It doesn't have to be donate. If you're doing a year-end fundraising campaign, Giving Tuesday campaign, obviously, if that's your goal, it would need to be donate. It could be sign up for our email newsletter. It could be read our blog and learn more about what we do. And then there could be a donate button in the blog. So there's different ways to go about doing the call to action, but please just have one call to action, and please make it very, very specific. Don't tell me to go to your homepage. I don't know what I'm supposed to do when I go to your homepage. If you tell me to go to your homepage, I'm like, what am I doing here? Am I going to the About Us? Am I going to get involved? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And then you lose me. If you are not direct in your ask, you lose me. Make the call to action easy to complete. If it's donate, check out your donate process. Make sure it's easy. Make sure it's easy to do on a phone, right? Look at Boston Children's Hospital. Almost every single Facebook post is like a little mini article. It's a little mini story, and they direct you to their blog to get more information. And then there are calls to action within that blog, but they want to get you to the blog, because if they get you to the blog, then they know you're probably more likely to donate, more likely to sign up. Boston Medical Center, bmcstories.org. And I know I have talked about this one before because it's my favorite website, bmcstories.org. All you can do when you go to their website is stay in touch, see more stories, and donate. This is not the main Boston Medical Center site where you can look up things about doctors and look up directions and all that. This is their fundraising website, and it is amazing. So the only three things you can do, it's incredible. And then their call to action to donate, be part of their capital campaign, is spread throughout the blog post and the story. Okay, so now at number 4, you've grabbed their attention, you've elicited an emotion, you've asked them for an action. Those 3 are all fantastic. If you do just those 3, wonderful. The golden crown, right, or the holy grail is really inspiring sharing. Having a story that is so incredible or amazing or resonates so much with your audience that they're going to share it with their networks. You have to understand why people share. This is the first thing that you have to do. You have to understand why people share online. So there are 4 reasons why we share online, and this is all scientific data. This has been compiled and analyzed by psychologists. I did not make this up. This is science, people. For you to help entertain or enlighten someone else, to say something about who I am and what I stand for. I would say that the majority of my social media, not to shock you in any way, I would say that the majority of my social media is about that, and that's fine. And I do like to help people in my professional social media. My personal social media is usually for me. For we to build and maintain relationships, and then for them to help support or draw attention to an issue of importance. And that's kind of, you could really come in, your nonprofit could come in on really any of those categories. The best is when you overlap, when your content or your story overlaps in any of those categories. So sharing, it's all about relationships. That might seem very simple, but I love this little graphic. To bring valuable and entertaining content to others, make people happy, to define ourselves to others, to grow and nourish our relationships, self-fulfillment, and get the word out about causes or brands. I would probably say that number 5 is the least compelling reason. So I'm not going to share just to get the word out about something. People email me and ask me every single day to share their GoFundMes, to share their fundraising campaigns, to share their online marketing campaigns. But just because you have an online marketing campaign or an online fundraising campaign, that's not a good enough reason for me to share it. I need that personal connection. It needs to help me do one of the other 4 things. It needs to help me either bring entertaining content to others, help me define myself if it's an organization that I feel strongly about. It needs to help me lead a more meaningful life if I'm going to be raising money for your organization. So that's where I think nonprofits get stuck, is that we have fantastic stories, we have fantastic missions, but we get too bogged down in feeling entitled to people's attention and to feeling entitled to having people help us. And that's really where we get stuck, because we're not entitled to anything. I'm not entitled to anyone's attention. I have to earn it. You have to earn it too. So thinking about those 4 steps and how you can craft your story into a really fantastic piece of content that will grab someone's attention, inspire them to action, get them to take an action, and inspire sharing. That's really, really what it's all about. So your homework. Hopefully last week you chose your 5 stories. Maybe choose 1 story. If you don't have the worksheet, I'm happy to send it to you. I can post the link in the comments. Let me know. It should be in your email. For Storytelling Summer School students, I have given you that homework assignment last week. If you haven't completed it, that's totally fine. So choose 1 story. Brainstorm around these questions, okay? What visual element can we add to this story so that it will grab attention? What emotion are we attempting to elicit from our audience? It could be inspiration, it could be aspiration, it could be happiness, it could be sadness, it could be hope. What emotion are you attempting to elicit? What is one thing, just one thing that we want people to do after either viewing or reading the story? And then what will inspire people to share the story with others? Thinking about those 5 reasons that there's 4 reasons that people share, right? So thinking about that. What will inspire people? So brainstorm around that story and really flesh it out, okay? And then if you need a little bit of inspiration, creating a storytelling culture, make sure you grab the cheat sheet. Also, if it's in your email for the students. So upcoming lessons, we already did week 1 and 2. I can't believe it. Next week at noon, we're on to week 3. Your 6 biggest digital storytelling challenges. I already have 6 challenges mapped out. I know your challenges. If you have additional challenges, I'm not going to tell you really what they are until next week. If you have any challenges, please go to the Facebook group. Say in the comments what your biggest storytelling challenge is, and I will make sure to address it, even if it's not in those 6, because I really want to make this helpful for you. 10 specific ways to use digital storytelling. We're going to go through lots of examples. And then week 5, your digital storytelling calendar, which I think will be helpful to organize all of your ideas, prioritize, keep you on track. And then battle-tested tools. Those are the visual creation tools, video tools, time management tools, scheduling tools. If you have any amazing tools, that's another one you can send to me. But for next week, I want to focus on challenges. So your biggest challenge in storytelling, please feel free to send it to me, definitely. Grab the book if you do not have it already. It goes through this in so much more detail. And then, I'm so excited that you came today. I do want to address something that Laura wrote in the comments. She said you can use jargon unapologetically when you're speaking to your own people. I would say yes. I also would say don't make it so no one is going to understand the post. So the St. Baldrick's post, I still understood the gist of it. I just didn't understand that particular term. So don't make it so jargony that I won't, like a normal person, like say I shared that St. Baldrick's post and I was part of that community. Don't make it so jargony that a total layperson wouldn't understand it and empathize with it. But you do want to create that content for your tribe and really be, like you just said, unapologetic about knowing who your tribe is and just being passionate about connecting with them. And just knowing what they want and knowing what they want to hear and knowing why they give to you. And understanding that your community and your donors may be different. There might be some overlap. But I guess it really all, comes back to your goal. But Martha also says, jargon, yes, up to a point. So I guess, what I would love, Laura, if you could give me an example of what you're talking about, and I might show some more examples next week about how jargon is used well and maybe places where jargon is used and like I don't even know, it's like Greek to me, right? All right, well, you have your homework assignment. I will post all the links in the comments. Watch the replay anytime. If you want the slides, I will give you my website because they should be up by now. grab the slides and make sure you download the Storytelling Culture. I'd love to hear from you in the Facebook group. I'd love to know any challenges that you're facing. I will make sure to address every single challenge in next week's edition of Storytelling Summer School. So join me again next week, next Friday at noon EST. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me, and just take care.